Today's lesson is Rihanna, the Caribbean queen who conquered pop. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today we are beginning a two-day look at the fascinating life of Rihanna, one of the most popular pop stars out there, who is also very well known these days for her successful line of beauty products and other things. Are you a fan of Rihanna?
I am a big fan of Rihanna.
Cool.
So she was kind of like just getting really popular and kind of around the time that I was really getting more into music.
Okay.
And so her songs were kind of the anthem to my whole friend group's life at the time.
Neat.
So, yes. I'm not as familiar with her later work because, now I'm not as interested in music and stuff anymore. But that early stuff, great.
Big fan. Okay. Was that around the time of her big Umbrella hit?
Yes.
Around that time. Okay. That's, I think, when she got really famous. But I know she had done maybe an album or two before that one.
Yes.
But she does seem like someone who's always been sort of tipped or picked out for success. She worked with Jay-Z, I think, in his record label at a very early stage in her career. And she's continued to go from strength to strength. And now she seems to have put her pop music career slightly more in the background as she's been doing other things, all of which we will learn about. Did you see her movies?
I saw her in, I believe it was Ocean's.
Ocean's 8.
Or, the one with the girl.
Yeah, Ocean's 8,
yes.
Right. Kate Blanchett and
Sandra Bullock. There we go.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and I believe she was the tech girl
you're
in
right.
that one. Yeah,
she was.
And I think that's the only movie I've seen her in. But I thought she did really well for being a singer turned actress.
Right.
She was very natural, and I was like, oh, cool, okay. That did not take me out of the movie to see somebody that I wasn't expecting in the movie.
Right.
There.
And she didn't kind of play just a different version of herself, some sort of international pop star type character.
Yes.
You're right. She was a computer hacker or something like that, showing off another one of her many talents. So let's find out more about the Caribbean queen who conquered pop, of course, Rihanna.
Rihanna, the Caribbean queen who conquered pop. Robin Rihanna Fenty, better known as Rihanna, is an award-winning artist from the Caribbean island of Barbados. Despite a tough childhood, the singer beat the odds to rise to the top of the pop music world.
大家好，标题中介绍动词 conquer， 它的意思是征服、攻克、占领。例如 The explorer set out to conquer the highest peaks of the mountain range. 那位探险家出发前往征服这座山脉的最高峰。或者 The singer conquered the music industry with his popular songs. 那名歌手以其受欢迎的歌曲征服了乐坛。下一个看到片语 beat the odds 表示战胜逆境，克服万难。例如 Alan beat the odds and recovered from a serious stroke. Alan 克服困难，在经历严重的中风后复原起来。也可以说 Janice beat the odds and became the first female CEO of the large company. Janice 克服万难，成为那间大公司的首位女执行长。
All right, we are back. So let's get into our article and find out about Rihanna. I think a good place to start, wouldn't you say, Sam, is to find out what her actual real name is.
Yes.
Let's do that.
And that's something that I feel a lot of artists kind of get sucked into this stage name kind of thing.
Okay.
And then some people don't even know their real names.
That's a good point.
As we see in the article, her real name. So it says Robin Rihanna Fenty, better known as Rihanna, is an award-winning artist from the Caribbean island of Barbados. Despite a tough childhood, the singer beat the odds to rise to the top of the pop music world. Okay, so yes, so her real name is Robin, but she goes by Rihanna, and Rihanna is her middle name. And it says that she had a tough childhood, but she beat the odds. So if something or someone beats the odds, it means usually that the odds or the most likely outcome for them is something that's not so good. So when we say like the odds are against you, I believe it actually goes back to a betting term. So if you're betting and you say, what are the odds or what is the likelihood of a positive outcome? And so if the odds are not good, then most likely you will not have a good outcome, or you will not win, or you will not flip the probability and get heads or tails or that kind of thing. And so here, when we talk about people or something beating the odds, it means that they were not in a very good situation. They would have had to try very hard to get some kind of success because of maybe where they were born or their childhood or maybe not having very much money or an illness or something like that that made it less likely or harder for them to succeed. But she beat the odds and she became a pop icon.
Yeah, she absolutely did. I mean, I don't know of many other celebrities who've come from Barbados, a very small island there in the Caribbean. We can also say Caribbean, right, for this group of islands. When we think of the Caribbean or the Caribbean, we're thinking of Cuba and Jamaica, Puerto Rico. Those are some of the big islands, but also Bahamas, Barbados, places like that. And yeah, it is a place that is severely disadvantaged in many ways, right? Tourism is a big thing, but they don't have a lot of industry, not a lot of money. So for someone to come from maybe a poor background in one of those places to become a global pop star is a pretty special thing. So she's obviously a pretty special lady. Let's find out more about her life, starting at the very beginning in the next part of the article.
Born February 20th, 1988, Rihanna faced many difficulties in her early years. Her father's drug and alcohol struggles put a strain on her parents' marriage, which led, in turn, to their divorce. Faced with these challenges, Rihanna turned to music and developed a talent that changed the course of her life. In high school, she formed a band with two classmates, and soon after, she was discovered by American record producer Evan Rogers. With Rogers' guidance, she left home aged just 16 to pursue a music career in the U.S.
第二部分看到名词 alcohol 表示酒、酒精、乙醇。例如 There are many bottles of alcohol on the shelves behind the bar. 吧台后面的架上有好几瓶酒精饮料。或是 Drinking too much alcohol can be harmful to your health. 饮酒过量可能会对健康有害。再来看到名词 strain， 它的意思是压力、负担、拉伤。例如Mr. and Mrs. Ward's money problems have put a strain on their marriage. Ward 夫妇的金钱问题对他们的婚姻造成了压力。也可以说 The temporary loss of power due to the storm placed a great strain on the hospital. 暴风雨造成的临时停电给医院带来了巨大的压力。继续介绍名词 divorce 表示离婚。可以说After 8 years of marriage, Eugene and Karen are getting a divorce. 在结婚8年后 Eugene 和 Karen 要离婚了。又或者说 After Ben got a divorce, he moved to a different town and started his life over. Ben 离婚后搬到了另一个城镇，重新开始了他的生活。后面看到动词 pursue， 它的意思是追求、从事、追捕。例如Caitlin pursued her dream job and finally got it. Caitlin 追求她梦想中的工作，而且终于得到它。再看一个例子 Lydia has decided to pursue a career in medicine. Lydia 决定从事医疗业。
All right, we are back. So let's get into some facts and details. I don't know, I feel a little bad telling a lady's age.
Yeah, right.
But she is a celebrity, and I think you can look this up. So let's just get into it. Born February 20th, 1988, Rihanna faced many difficulties in her early years. Okay, so yeah, she had a tough childhood is a pretty common way of explaining her situation when she was born. What was going on? Her father's drug and alcohol struggles put a strain on her parents' marriage, which led in turn to their divorce. Okay, so like many people, not a very happy household that she was born into. Her father obviously had problems with drugs and alcohol, with drugs, illegal drugs, clearly, and drinking. Alcohol, of course, is the content of beer and wine and whiskey and things like that that makes you feel funny, that changes your mood, and many people, their personalities. So he drank too much. He had a drinking problem, would be another way of explaining that. that. And that could, of course, lead to legal problems, right? When people get drunk or they're high on drugs, they can do crazy things or commit crimes or just get in trouble with the law. And maybe he didn't have much of a chance of holding down a steady job, so money was a problem. Anyway, so the father wasn't really helping out, and this put a strain on her parents' marriage. Probably fights in the family, the mother trying to get the father to clean up and get back to work or get serious, but he wouldn't, so this is a strain on their marriage. Something that's a strain, it brings trouble, it brings tension, it brings difficulties to your life. If you have problems in a relationship or with your friendships or maybe at work, this can put a strain on you. It can make things harder, it can give you stress, it can lead to other problems, right? You're stressed out about one thing, maybe you stop sleeping or you develop health problems, or maybe like her father, you're drinking or things too much like that to try to improve your mood temporarily. But this is just bringing trouble to her parents' marriage, and there are probably a lot of fights in the home as well. But eventually this led in turn to their divorce. So eventually the mother got tired of this situation. It wasn't good for the kids as well, so she formally broke up the marriage. She went to a lawyer and got basically the marriage canceled or annulled or something like that. Divorce is when people go through the legal proceedings to end a marriage because they're unhappy in that marriage and they want to move on with their lives. Now, hopefully, this led to a better environment, at least for the kids.
Yes, and so, again, this is kind of a childhood that I think a lot of people kind of resonate with or they kind of connect with, because divorce and alcohol, substance abuse, this kind of stuff is a fairly common thing. So she's facing these challenges, and now she's going to try to get herself out of this situation that started off very terrible, and now what can it turn into? And so we see in the article, it says, faced with these challenges, Rihanna turned to music and developed a talent that changed the course of her life. So she's kind of thinking like, okay, I need to get out of this situation, and what can I do? What can I kind of cling on to or turn to kind of get away from what is happening? And so she turned to music. If you turn to something, it's kind of like you've decided to follow this path. Some people might turn to their studies, and so they get really good at school and they really focus on that, or they turn to sports. Unfortunately, a lot of times we use this phrase when you have somebody who is struggling with drug and alcohol, or they're struggling with something that is kind of depressing or sad, and they turn to alcohol to kind of help them with that. So if you're turning to something, it's like you're deciding to use that thing to kind of help you with whatever is going on at the moment. And then if we continue on, it says, in high school, she formed a band with 2 classmates, and soon after, she was discovered by American record producer Evan Rogers. With Rogers' guidance, she left home aged just 16 to pursue a music career in the U.S.
Wow. Okay,
so she's very young. She started a band in high school, and she's only 16. It says she's aged just 16. So if we use this aged whatever age, that just means that's how old she is. And she's pursuing a music career in the U.S. So she's leaving Barbados, she's leaving this tiny island, leaving everything to follow a music career in the U.S. Because pursue just means to follow or to try to continue on that path. She's decided she wants to do something with music, and she is going to pursue it and continue and follow it wherever it might be. And in this case, it's in the U.S.
So she's off, leaving him home at just 16. Wow, her mother must have had a lot of confidence in her, but she was off to America to become a big star. Let's find out how that all turned out.
At an audition for Def Jam Recordings, Rihanna performed a demo version of Pon de Replay for the record label's president, the rap star Jay-Z. He was so impressed with her voice and stage presence that he signed her on the spot, and her debut album, Music of the Sun, was released in 2005. Rihanna's career has been going strong ever since, marked by a series of chart-topping hits such as Umbrella, Diamonds, and Work, which have firmly established her place in pop music history.
第3部分介绍片语 on the spot 指的是当场当下。举例来说 The client didn't bother negotiating and signed the contract on the spot. 该名客户懒得议价，在现场就签约了。或是 Benjamin was fined on the spot for littering. Benjamin 因乱丢垃圾当场被罚款。 最后看到动词 establish 表示确立，使被认可，设立。可以说 The treaty helped establish peaceful relations between the two countries. 该份条约帮助确立了那两国之间的和平关系。最后一个例子 Debbie has established herself as an important part of the team. Debbie 已确立自己成为这个团队重要的一员。
All right, we are back with the third part of our article. Rihanna has left Barbados at the age of 16. She's left, a difficult childhood, but the future looks good. She's on her way to America to become a big pop star. It says, at an audition for Def Jam Recordings, Rihanna performed a demo version of Pon de Replay for the record label's president, the rap star Jay-Z. Wow, that's a pretty good person to do your audition in front of, a world-famous hip-hop star who also happens to run or manage this record label. And this is an audition. Now, an audition is basically like a job interview for artists. You go there, you sit in front of the people who can give you the job, whoever that is, and you perform for them, right? So if you want to be in a play or a TV show or a movie, you'll sit in front of the director and the producers, you'll act out a scene or two, you're demonstrating and showing off your skills. In the same way, musicians will audition if they want to join a band or an orchestra. It's basically a tryout, a job interview. You're displaying your skills in front of people who can or cannot give you the job. So that was a very pressure-filled moment, I'm sure, for her. And what did she do? She performed a demo version of Pon de Replay. I think this is one of her songs, right? One of her early hits. This was a song she thought was good. It displayed her talents quite well. That's what you do in an audition, right? You show yourself off in the best way. And this was a demo version of this song. A demo version, well, that's short for demonstration version. And this is what musicians will call sort of the working version of a song. It's not the final finished version that you'll hear on the radio or buy on an album or download from somewhere. This is sort of their working version. It'll have the song, but it might just be the singer and a guitar. And eventually the song will have drums and keyboards and a whole band playing, but this is the simple version. We're demonstrating the song for you in the same way that a company will put out a simple version of a product that will show you the idea of the product, but maybe, of course, it will get better later on. But this is the basic idea. So she did this demo version of one of her songs for the record label's president, who was the rap star, of course, well known as Jay-Z. And this was for Def Jam Recordings. This is a very famous record label in America. A record label is a company that puts out records, that works with artists, and produces songs and CDs and other things for us, the music fans, the consumers, to buy. We call it a label because I think that probably comes from the old records, the old big black records, and in the middle there would be a paper label stuck on that would have the information about the song and the artist. So that's the word that we use. A record label is a record company. And what did Jay-Z think?
Well, he was so impressed with her voice and stage presence that he signed her on the spot, and her debut album, Music of the Sun, was released in 2005.
So it went quite well.
Yes,
Okay.
I would say that counts as going very well.
Pretty good audition.
Yes, so she does the audition, and again, normally you do the audition and then people discuss it and figure it out and then decide do they want to sign you or not. But here, he signed her on the spot. That means right away. He just saw her do the demo and said, yep, you've got it. We want you. You're hired. You're part of our...
They didn't take a day or two or a week to think about it.
Not even a few minutes. It seems like he wanted her right away. And a lot of that was due to her stage presence as well as her voice. So, of course, there are lots of people with great voices, but maybe not stage presence. And that's something that's very important to actually become a big star, because you need to be able to stand on stage and have people want to watch you. That's what's called stage presence. If you can stand there and the way you move or the way you act or the way you do whatever you do while you're performing, if you're a good performer, you will have good stage presence. And so you have to have both if you're going to really make it as a big, huge singer, icon, all this kind of stuff. And then we also had this word debut. This is her debut album. So if something is the debut form, it's the very first one. It's the one to kind of say, hello, this is Rihanna. You've never met her before. So we are debuting her. We are showing her. We are giving you a look at what she can do and all of that with the very first album. So that is the debut album, the very first one to show who is this artist and what she can do and how she sings and all that kind of stuff. So, again, that audition went quite well for her.
Yes, indeed. And it says Rihanna's career has been going strong ever since. I think later albums were actually more successful than that first one. So that's why her career can definitely be said to have been going strong ever since. It's been moving from strength to strength. It's been getting better ever since. She never really has had a time when she's been unpopular or anything like that. And this has been marked by, or sort of highlighted by, a series of chart-topping hits. These might be some of the songs that you would be familiar with. You'd probably heard them on the radio a lot at the time when they were out. So this is highlighted by some of her big hits, or her chart-topping hits. I guess if it's chart-topping, we can be sure that these songs went to #1 in different countries. Songs such as Umbrella, Diamonds, and Work, which Sam will now sing for us.
Oh, Under My Umbrella.
Fantastic. Don't sing too much. We'll
Okay.
have to pay Rihanna a lot of money. That was really good.
Oh, thanks.
And these songs have firmly established her place in pop music history. Yeah, even music fans who don't know her music too much, maybe don't like her style, they definitely know her. And even people who don't listen to music a lot, they know her. So that means she's established her place. When you establish something, you set it up in kind of a permanent kind of way. People might establish a company, and that company might go on to be very successful over many years. But that's when it began, that's when it started, and that's kind of when it became a permanent thing, not just a temporary thing that might disappear in a month or two. No, she really set herself up. She put herself up there with the Lady Gagas and the Beyoncés and the Madonnas of the world as a big international star who was going to be popular for many, many years. And it's still true. She's still popular today, but what has she been doing recently? Good question. We're going to have a lot more about that tomorrow, so please come back and join us. But for now, let's go head over to our chart-topping hit maker, the Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分提到蕾哈娜的父亲深陷毒品与酒精的问题，使得父母的婚姻关系紧张，进而导致离婚。那文中是用 in turn 来表达进而怎么样怎么样，我们来整理它的用法。好，首先 in turn 可以表达进而、接着或是转而，可以用来表达某件事或是行为进而促进了某种结果，或是成为另一事件的原因。举例来说 ，creating a comfortable environment will help employees concentrate better and will in turn increase efficiency. 创造一个舒适的环境将有助于员工更专心，进而提升效率。好，那第二个用法是可以用 in turn 表达依序地、轮流地，用来表达依序进行，像是 The principal shook hands with each of us in turn. 校长依序跟我们每个人握手。好，那课文下一句提到，面对这些挑战，蕾哈娜转而投身于音乐。那文中是用 turn to。Turn to 之后可以接人或事物，表达开始从事某事，或是向什么来寻求支持、协助或是答案。像是 Do you have anyone you can turn to for emotional support? 你有任何人能让你寻求情感上的支持吗？那另外我们可能也会看到 turn to 后面接 drugs 或者是 alcohol 等等，这往往是指可能因为不开心而开始使用毒品、酒精来寻求慰藉。举例来说 Mark turned to alcohol after his wife left him. Mark 在他妻子离开他之后开始酗酒。好，那最后我们补充几个跟 turn 有关的片语。第一个 take turns表示轮流，其中的 turns 固定要用复数，我们可以用 take turns 加上动词 ing 来表达轮流做某事。例如 The kids took turns playing on the slide. 小朋友们轮流玩溜滑梯。那第二个补充的是 twists and turns， 这是表达迂回曲折，其中的 twist 和 turn 都有这种转弯啊、弯曲处的意思。那么 twists and turns 就可以表达意外的发展转变。举例来说 The story is full of twists and turns. 这个故事充满了意外转折。那第三个补充的用语是 take a turn for the better， 其中的 turn 当名词，它表示转变， the better 是更好的情况，所以 take a turn for the better 字面意思是往更好的情况转变发展，用来表示情况好转。那相反的 take a turn for the worse 就是情况突然恶化，急转直下。像我们可以说 their relationship took a turn for the worse， 他们的关系急转直下。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Conquer. Tanya told me that she hopes to conquer the fashion world one day. Alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol can have negative effects on a person's memory. Strain. Steve has been feeling a considerable strain from working long hours every day this week. Divorce. Mr. and Mrs. Callahan argue almost constantly, so they're thinking of getting a divorce. Pursue. You should pursue the things in life that bring you joy, peace, and personal growth. Debut. The young singer made her debut at a local music festival. Establish. In recent years, Dr. Estes has established herself as a leading expert in computer science.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Sam.
See you next time.